Oh boy. Well, let's the audio recording's good going, thank God. That's Weaver Johnson again, Richmond, California. Attending the virtual Comic Con, and you know what? I thought it was going to be something more than that. Basically, live interviews on YouTube with the guests and panelists. It doesn't start until 3 o'clock, and here I am. 9 o'clock, 9:20 in the morning. And I'm trying to record my excitement and enthusiasm for this damn thing. My question is, what the fuck am I doing here? I am getting too damn old. I'm getting too damn old for this stuff. If I was going to attend a Comic Con, I may have pushing and shoving through people left and right. I'm pushing and shoving through people left and right on electronic forms. People are. For those experienced going to Comic Cons and conventions over the past 30 years, I tip my hat off to these kids because they've had more stamina and more stability in dealing with this stuff than I had. Growing up as a teenager, had been to his first convention as a young kid and then started to go to other conventions throughout his young life. I had a rush to conventions left and right, and sometimes I had to wait hours on end for the thing to start. If it was over at the LA Airport Hilton, lines wound even outside. You're young, you're strong, you don't get sunscreen that much. Come in and look like a lobster. Pasadena Convention Center, all the way around the area. The lines were winding just to get into the place. I didn't know what it was like over at the Burbank Hilton. Same thing though, probably. I remember when the 5th anniversary of Next Generation Star Trek came out. And they did it over at the Bonaventure. Creation Con, or Creation Entertainment, was the entity in charge of all of it. And they only did the gold tickets for the weekends, but they didn't do the day by day passes for the people to go in there who just simply want to go in for the day. They lost about 50 approximate people in line for that. I was one of them. And when we found out, while waiting in line for about an hour, roughly, and we talked to someone passing by who worked for the convention, we heard about the passes being sold weeks in advance, months in advance. So anybody doing a day for the 5th anniversary of Next Generation missed out on it for the day. For those who did the gold passes, they were fortunate enough to see and collect and have fun. 50 people complained and 50 people got free tickets out of it. I was one of them. And I saved and held on to it until it was time for Shatner and Nimoy to do their final thing, and I decided that was the time to use it. Little did I know that nature had decided to do an earthquake on that day. Whittier Narrows had suffered some damage. And it was a convention that day. It was a Sunday. And all hell was breaking loose in that day. Holy shoot. My brother was the unfortunate transportation guy here. When he wasn't taking me around to conventions as a young teenager to a young man, I was taking the local transportation to get to and from. I was getting adept on it too. Once you know your schedules and you know your bus routes and you knew how to get back to and from. I really didn't feel like I was strapped. I felt I was, you know, hooked on a time limit, but you know, I can deal with that. Go in, hear about maybe one or two people, maybe get an autograph if you're lucky, grab some merchandise, and get the hell out of it. That was it. And I did that too, a couple of times. Got home in an evening, safe to sell. So there was no problem with that. What there was a problem, as I said before, the 5th anniversary, when my brother finally took me into one of them. And we decided to go to Disneyland because the 5th anniversary didn't do today. And I had to wait and wait and wait, as I said before, until the day of a good convention, which was Shatner and Nimoy, last tour for both of them together. And my brother was working that day. He comes back home and it's already aftershocks like crazy. We're scared as hell. What's going on? I'm trying to get myself ready for this one. Dave forgot it was convention day. I had reminded him. And he kept asking me, are you sure you want to do this during an earthquake? He said, this is the last time these guys are going to be together, and I'm not about to miss this one. I said, all right. You boys be careful and take Guy with you. I love you. My mother's favorite sayings. We know, Ma, we know, we love you too. We did. We liked to kid each other. And we drove. We drove all the way down to Anaheim Convention Center while feeling the aftershocks in the freeway and watching some people like, what the hell was that? I'm like, typical tourists, not natives. And we're seeing choppers flying overhead. News choppers and police choppers and other choppers. All converging in areas to oversee what's going on. That was funny as hell. That was just funny as hell. I couldn't believe this stuff was going on at this point over here. This is insane. I mean, this is absolutely insane. Sorry, the allergies are getting to me. Here's two guys trying to get through traffic, which keeps diverting itself left and right. We finally get off the damn freeway. We're in Anaheim. We see Disneyland. My brother keeps looking at me saying, you sure you don't want to go to Disneyland? I'm saying, yeah, Dave, I'm positive I don't want to go to Disneyland this time anyway. We're spending too much money over there anyway. Besides, Mom will be getting our butts. No, that's what I want to do. All right. Now, here's the thing. I can just get this damn thing back over here again. Here we go. Hey! I'll get a smiley face again. Anyway. Over at the Anaheim Convention Center decades ago, there used to be this stand, actually this overhang, supported by columns, 4 to be precise. And it's outside of the venue. They are the extra hold area for the people coming in, and they have it ringed. People just go way outside in the queue. Meanwhile, the people have already got advance tickets, waiting outside right next to the building. Did anybody happen to realize the architecture of the Anaheim Convention Center about 3 decades ago? There were plenty of things to fall down if we were talking about an aftershock of 6 point and above. Fortunately for me, the aftershocks were about 5 and below. But tell the people that who were waiting underneath the 4 columns there in the cement slab, because every time an aftershock would hit, it'd scatter like ants. And my brother and I are looking at each other as we're looking at the building like, you think it's going to come down yet? No, it's not going to come down yet. You sure about that? Yeah, okay. How about if we just a little bit. Okay, we'll just move out a little bit. Felt that one? Yeah. That's not even a 4. Jeez, and they're freaking out. Look at all that people. They're scattering like ants again and going back on it again. And just, they're not even seeing the damn columns shifting because they were just stationary. Now, if we're talking about 5.5 and a 6, then they'd be shifting like crazy. And then you'd understand their absolute need to run. Now, me and my brother are just looking at the side of the building like, it's not even damaged. I mean, look at this thing. What kind of damage we're talking about over at Narrows? Yeah. Yeah, look at this place. Damn thing's Fort Knox. Except some of the people who are waiting in line before and after us are looking at two guys who are nuts. I'm looking at them like, what? You never been through an earthquake before? Chuckle at that one. But the thing of it is, I've been through earthquakes before. The quakes regarding California, you had to be a native. You had to be a native to understand the quakes. You had to understand that you either loved them or you hate them. And I hated them. 71 was my first initiation to a California quake at a age of 5. 5 years old. I'm in the apartment complex in North Hollywood. Van Owen and Ethel. Swimming pool right in the middle of it. Our apartment is right above it. We're watching the swimming pool flooding lower areas. And we're scared. But it was scary. But our building didn't crack. It didn't fall. It didn't crumble. We had our stuff inside crumbling and falling like crazy. As in broken dishes, broken glasses, broken nerves. Beds shifting around left and right in the boys' room. We had to get the hell out of there in the hallway and hunker with Mom. And that was my first earthquake. Since then, I learned how to hate them, every one of them. But when I got older and took college courses about geology, I understood more and more about the mechanisms about an earthquake. But it really did not alleviate me of the fear of what an earthquake can do psychologically. And it's pretty got me screwed up on that one. The convention went off without a hitch, somewhat. People are still afraid to go inside, but they did. A mad rush over towards the seats so they can listen to Shatner and Nimoy. Here's a word of advice I should have given myself about 30 years ago. Polaroid cameras suck. Instamatics did better. The one shot and develop a picture, they suck. Now, if I just had the disposable cameras, we didn't have those. We didn't stop to get any. We should have. I did shopping over there. Got more junk. But the one thing I wish we had was the damn cameras. Anyway. Put this pause. Now you see it, now you don't. Basically, the disappearing, reappearing clothing outfit. Poof. Continue on with this damn thing. So, when you're at convention halls, it was interesting to see old friends from different clubs running security for the company in creation. And realized I worked with them. Or volunteered like crazy for him. Well over 30 plus years ago. And the last time I got involved with another Fandom situation was when I got burned out with the Star Trek stuff. Talked about that last time. In the last taping I had. Now, this other one came up with a different topic altogether, different genre, and it caused a lot of issues. I had to get away from it. I had to. See, concerning about fandom, everybody thinks fandom's a wonderful thing to get through, and believe me, it is. I mean, fandom is a nice, wonderful thing to go through and understand, but the problem is, concerning about fandom, is it's more to it than that. Some people actually make it a way of life. Some people actually make it into an existence. And some people actually go over the edge and really make it a reality for themselves. What can I say? I had. I had made fandom and warped it. The only way I could put it. It wasn't right. It wasn't natural. It just wasn't anything anymore. One radio show goes downhill. Another fan club. Issues with concerning about the subject matters. And I had to get and stay away from it. Excuse me. Sorry. No, it's not COVID. It's allergies. Summer season usually does that to me. And no, I don't have the COVID. Let's go. Oh, hope to God I didn't have no COVID. Anyway. But that's basically it regarding fandom. I mean, you can overboard with the damn thing. I mean, it's one thing when you really go overkill with your characters, and you want to do a lobotomy on another character because you're a captain and you're in charge of this club operation. And I just flat out refused. I was out of it. Fuck it. Not dealing with it. I wasn't dealing with the insanity and the mentality of it back in the 80s. And the fan thing regarding the last thing I had, it went all the way through the 2000s, and I just, no. I went over the edge. And then some. It wasn't worth it. I mean, I've seen a lot of fans can go crazy with their cosplays, and I've also seen a lot of obsessions as well. They are there, hidden, but settled. Not many, but there. The pitfalls of fandom. You love a show too damn much, you forget the reality of it. It's just a TV show. There was a Saturday night skit that has been ridiculed to this day. And poor William Shatner has been the butt of the jokes ever since he did this one. But he had it right. He had it right. It was a betrayal of him at a convention, and he's telling the fans what's going on. And he could see the disappointment in their faces. This is a skit on Saturday Night Live. The fans are the actors, acting as if they have been hurt by a favorite icon, until the actor remembers and realizes that to them it's everything. So he gets back into character and pleases them. This thing has not stopped haunting poor William Shatner for decades. It will not stop, because this is the crux of it. It's not because it made fun of him. He made a point of it. And it struck home. It struck home. And it hit me hard too. It's just a television show. It's just this. It's just that. Star Wars is just Star Wars. Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica and Doctor Who and Blake 7 and Space 1999 and UFO and Star Wars and God knows how many shows out there that fans have gone crazy for over several decades. They made it their complete lives over this stuff. And when you realize it's just television shows you enjoy, okay, fine, you enjoyed the characters, you enjoyed the stories, you enjoyed the shows. But to be part of it mentally? To tell you the truth, for a long while, yeah, you live it in here constantly. Me too. Me too. Rich of imagination, but poor in ability to get the damn thing out. You live the adventures in your head. Your favorite characters, actors, all have spaces rented in your head. Your favorite subjects, ships, scenarios, stored away in your noggin. You relive or you play, you create, you recreate. You develop. Maybe sometimes you'll be able to get that creativity out and be able to express it artistically. Other times it's just a head game. Now, people are probably scratching their heads on this one saying, why are you talking about it like this? Well, because why not? Because I remember going through this damn stage myself too many times. I'd look at a piece of fiction at this point over here, and I put myself saying, what if? What if in that particular episode I was there, I could have done this and I could have done that, or I could have been part of this, I could have been part of that. Not part of the production crew, but part of that particular genre in that particular realm. You may call it strange, you may call it other words, I don't care. That's a form of reality that some people don't even want to acknowledge or even share with anybody else. That they have fantasies over this stuff. You know, it's not a problem having the fantasies over this stuff when you keep it inside your head and keep it inside yourself. What is the problem at this point over here is when you have it exploded into your own outside reality and it affects everybody around you. And for me, it happened. And it was terrifying. And lives were almost irrevocably changed. I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't do that to myself. So I stayed away from fandom. I stay away from the conventions. I stay away from that stuff. It's one thing to collect your stuff and be a collector and show it every once in a while. But I don't think I can deal with that ever again. So many people that I admired too damn much, well, they're having their own little lives, and they don't go to conventions. They don't do the conventions because doing the conventions is scary because they might run into that problem person. And when you're tagged that problem person, this is one of the major absolute pitfalls, the dark abyss that you stay the hell away from when you're a fan. You can play with it, you can do role-playing games with it, you can have fun with the damn thing, but you have to remember that's fantasy, and what you're physically going through is reality. There's very few people out there who can try understanding this because they've gone through it. And some of them still live there. I only visit from time to time just to keep my own brain working. But I don't live there. I don't set up apartments. I don't set up condominiums in that kind of genre, or in that fantasy realm. I haven't been to conventions to celebrate the stuff with the other fans to go crazy because I know what I'm capable and I know what's going to trip me and slip me. Virtuals are fine. You know, watch the stuff on YouTube as the virtual con's going to be for next 4 days for the Comic Con. They're going to be doing things on YouTube. People sign up for the YouTube fast enough, they'll be able to get to it. If not, oh well. The first Comic Con they've got virtually, and a lot of people are trying to sign up for the damn thing. They want to be part of something. And a lot of people are so interested in their genres. Do they even take time out to understand that it's in one form of reality we can't cross into? We can celebrate it one way, we can talk about it, we can draw, we can write, we can create all the characters in our heads and on computer screens and paperwork, but it is a reality that we will never go into. We'll share the concepts, we'll share the ideas, we'll share anything and everything about the genre. We just can't cross over. And unfortunately, some people think they still can. And I used to be one of those. And it's hard as hell for me to talk about this one, because I damn near costed my own freedom and someone else's existence. It's not right. I backed off. I was warned not to do this. And this was fandom. This was beyond the fandom. This was beyond that. There's a word for it. I'm not saying it. Starts with an S. But I'm not going there again. The person will never forgive me. The only thing I can tell this person is I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I wish this person well. I don't ever want to cross paths again, because I'm afraid of the consequences. I don't trust me. I don't trust me. The pitfalls of fandom. Enjoy your Comic-Con, boys and girls. Just remember what this broken down old fart has told you. Be careful where you tread. You might not like where you're going.